Welcome to this workshop on 4 free apps to organize your homeschool. I am now an empty nester, but I did homeschool my 4 children ever since we moved to the US from South Africa. That's my accent. And I am now still involved with homeschoolers. I teach at a local co-op, I teach online, and I coach Quiz Bowl and Science Olympiad teams at our local homeschool support group. I use these apps that I'm going to share with you today, and I used most of them when I was homeschooling. Some of them weren't around then, but I used these all to keep myself organized and my students organized. And I'm going to first just explain to you what they are and then go into more details about them. So before you even look at the apps, why should you use apps? Now, when I'm talking about apps, these are going to be ones you can use on a laptop, so a desktop, or on your phone. All of the 4 items that I'm going to be referring to are free. Some of them have paid versions, some don't, but you could use it on your phone, on an iPad, or just on a computer. Now, the first thing is, if you are using an app, you're less likely to lose your work. So whether you're making lists or whatever you're doing to keep yourself organized, you know what it's like. You misplace them, you don't know where they are, the dog eats it, you leave perhaps lists at home and you're wanting to look at it somewhere else. The good thing is that you're less likely to lose it. Secondly, you can access it from your phone, as I've mentioned. These are all going to be things you can access on your phone. So that means when you're wanting to look and see what else you need to do, or you want to reference something and you're waiting for your children while they're playing sport or whatever, you have it with you. The third reason is it's easy to share with others. All of these apps will let you share them with someone else, which means that whether you're working collaboratively on something or whether you just want to show somebody else what you want them to do, you can do it just with a push of a button, and it's all there. You're not having to make photocopies and share things out, which you would have to do if it was on paper. And the last thing is it's easy to update. So when you realize that something's not quite working, you want to tweak it, change it, you're not messing up a piece of paper, you're not crossing out, you're not having to erase, you can just fix it. And related to this, you can also copy it across, like to a new month, to a new year. So if you're setting up schedules for your kids and you know that this year is going to be very similar to last year, you're not starting from scratch. You can actually take what you've already done and you can just tweak it to make it work for the coming year. Before I go into detail, just showing you how to use each of these, I want to go over what each can do. Some of these you may know about and you might not need any help. So you can then just fast forward to the part in the video that does interest you. And you don't have to waste time watching something that you already know all about. So the 4 apps I'm going to be talking about are Google Calendar, Google Sheets, Evernote, and Trello. Now, Google Calendar, I'm sure you at least are aware of. If you're not using it, you may just want to take a look at my screen share where I'm going to show you exactly how I use it. It's a really easy way to share your calendar with others, to see other people's calendars. You can even get reminders on it. For me, it's the way that I keep myself organized. The next one is Google Sheets, which is just the Google version of Excel, basically. Great for anything where you're having to add up things. So budgeting, keeping track of hours, which is super important when your kids are getting to high school level. And for them particularly, they can be doing this, but they need to keep track of how many hours they spend in community service if they're going to want to apply for community service scholarships. Anything that you want to use columns for, it's just really the way Google Sheets is set up. It's just a great way of using columns. So whether you're totaling those columns or just putting things in columns and moving them around, I use it in my online classes where I, will, for instance, ask students to sign up and, I'll have on my left-hand side, I'll have all the different options, and then I will have columns for, say, for students to actually then sign up exactly as to what they want. And then if you're doing allowances or giving rewards, Google Sheets is a great way to do it. If you listen to my other workshop, which is on 10 ways to make homeschooling fun, I do reference this idea of rewards. And so if you listen to the two of them, this is the one way to easily keep track. Evernote is like a big filing system. So if you like to keep track of things and file them away, and the paper ones have got out of control, well, Evernote is everything you could ever imagine, and it's all digital. You can access it again from your phone. You can bookmark things you find online, because it's a way of really making sense of all those things you find online. So when you're floating around the web and you suddenly see something, you think, oh, that'll make a great gift, you can save it and you can file it away in Evernote. If you see something that you think would be great to buy for next year for curriculum, you can file it in Evernote. There's a Chrome extension that I'm going to show you how to use. You have files, you have folders, and everything is easy to retrieve. And the final one we're going to talk about is Trello, which is a big planner. I don't know how else to explain it, so if you don't know what it is, do come and have a look. You can basically set up to-do lists. I mean, it's really versatile. I'll probably show you some of the ways that I use it. My daughters and I share recipes on it. We use it for Science Olympiad. That's the way we set up the different assignments for the students. We tell them what they should be doing, and this is the way you can do it for your kids. You can every week set up a detailed list of what your kids must do, and then they just have to go through and check it off, because there are check boxes. And color coding can make it clear whether this is schoolwork they're doing, whether this is chores they have to do, whether they have a test. And I use it for myself too, as a way of keeping track of what I need to do. Because I know that not all of you are going to go all the way through to the end, I just want to quickly tell you where to find me online, and then you can jump around for the rest of this video. I teach online at fundafundaacademy.com. Our classes are asynchronous. That means there are no live sessions, but we do have, for all our full semester classes, which are for upper middle school and high school, and they're for credit, those ones all do have deadlines to keep kids on track, and we do all the grading. So there just isn't a live component, but apart from that, it's like a university online class. We also have web-based unit studies, which are great from 4th grade through 8th grade. And we do teach, by the way, some of the things I'm going to show you, all these things, in fact, and more in our computer applications class, which is for 7th through 12th grade. And it's a full year class. If you're wanting to learn more about tech and how you can use it in your homeschool, do start listening to my Homeschooling with Technology podcast. It comes out every week on a Wednesday. It's just 15 minutes long. I have great guests, or I just do it myself, and I share with you a lot more tips like these. If you don't know how to get a podcast, please feel free to shoot me a message and I will try to help you. I listen while I'm driving around in the car. You can also do it while you're working out, doing the ironing, feeding a baby, whatever else. It's a great way just to fill in a few minutes. You can, of course, find me on Pinterest and on Facebook, and on both those, I'm Funda Education. So, without further ado, let me get started with our first app, and that will be Google Calendar. So let's first take a look at Google Calendar. Now, Google Calendar, if you have Gmail, you just choose the apps over here, Google Apps, and then you select calendars from that, or you can just Google Calendar and you will find a link and you can come into it. Now, the neat thing about Google Calendar is that your husband, your kids, especially if they're teens, obviously if they're really little, they're not going to have their own calendars. But everybody can have their own calendar and can keep up with your own calendar, but you can share them. And so you can see here, I've got my calendars, which some of these are defunct, not really using anymore. And then I have other calendars. And here I have my daughters, my sons, and nowadays I don't follow what they're up to because they've all left home. But when they were staying at home, I could check those. And when you check it, then you can see what's on it. So for instance here, this is actually our local neighborhood. We have food trucks coming into our neighborhood. And so I have that checked so I can see when the food trucks, if I if I toggle it off, you can see they go away. I toggle it on, those are orange, and here's where you can set the colors. And it shows me here the little ones with the orange dots. And you can see if I go into next month, there's some more orange dots there. The orange dots are the food trucks, when they're going to be here and what they are. So that's really helpful. You can also, there's American Holidays somewhere here, which I think is kind of one of the options that you can just ask for. I'm not seeing it now, but that was at one point at least. Oh, there we go, holidays in the US. I think it's one that you could automatically choose, and it puts it all the vacation days that you could possibly want. And if you don't want it, you just toggle it off. If you want to use the reminder feature, you need to have reminders on. If you don't have it on, you're not going to be able to use that. So you just need to make sure that you've actually shared your calendar with whoever you want to have it. And here you can see you can just make it bigger or smaller. But once you've shared your calendar, then you can just come in and you just put, okay, this is in the past, so it's not really going to help us. Let's just get into something more in the future here. Right, let's go tomorrow. You just double click on it. And here you can say whether it's going to be all day. If it's not all day, you give it the time. You can choose if it's going to repeat and when it will repeat. So anything that's going to repeat, you can put on there. So here you just have it's going to be from 10 o'clock or whatever time you want it. If it has a specific location, like if you're meeting somebody somewhere, maybe it's a field trip for your kids, you can put that down. Then you can put a little description. Maybe you have the contact person, a phone number, anything that you have, and it will automatically save it. So let's just put something in here. We don't want Google time. We'll just leave it at 10 to 10:30. We'll just have here field trip. And the location could be the zoo. Okay, I'm in Knoxville, so they are putting in the location. Then I'm going to say organizer Sue, and maybe I'd have here whatever her cell phone number, whatever I need to. If you wanted to add more guests, you could do that, but obviously I'm not doing anything like that. Then when you click on save, it automatically has been saved there. Now let's just go to December 3rd, and I'll show you how you can okay, now it's not letting me. Okay, the reminders I'm always finding tricky. I've got to click, okay, the one way you can do the reminder is to click here on create. This one definitely works easier. And then you add in, let's say you want it to remind you to run the dishwasher. And here you can decide, you're going to click here on reminder. And if you want it to repeat, you can tell it to repeat daily. And you can tell it to repeat daily at maybe 2 o'clock. So if you run or 2:30, let's go 2 p.m. Because you run it at 2, then you know that it'll be ready for you before supper time. And you click on, and I've got it starting on November the 1st. Maybe we're going to start actually on December the 1st. And we click on save. Now you can see it's actually put it on every single day that it's actually got run the dishwasher. And it has populated automatically because I told it was every day. So if I want to delete the reminder, do I just want to delete today's, or do I want to delete the whole lot? I can delete the whole lot, and now it's magically gone again. So I think you can see it's really easy to use, and you can get it as a monthly. If you want to drill down and if you want to use it in more detail, you can use here in the day, and of course you can even do it in a year. So you can choose how you want to do it. So that's just a quick overview to get you going with Google Calendar. All right, so Google Sheets you can get to by searching for it or by going to your apps again over there and choosing Google Sheets and then saying you want a new one. Now the first thing is you can start with a completely blank worksheet, spreadsheet, or you can actually choose one of the gallery, and you can see there's a lot of different ones that you can do. And it also will show you your recent spreadsheets. I'm just going to briefly show you what I'm using some of them for. Here I'm using this in the Writing Fun class that I teach online. we actually give the kids points for the work they do, and they can use those then to get prizes. And this is where I keep a record of how many points they have. So I told you that it's useful for columns. Here I keep all the affiliate links that I use. And again, it's just nice because it's organized in columns, which if you're using Google Docs won't do that. So I have the name of the affiliate, I have the link, I have any extra info that I need on there. Here's my podcast. I actually keep track here of the episode number and what I've done. And my virtual assistant also just checks off every time she's made the graphics for them. This is the spreadsheet. Here we're using spreadsheets for Science Olympiad. We keep track of the schedules for the different events using it. And here, this is one of my my teaching assistants. I keep track of what I owe him because it's really easy to actually total. So that's just to give you some idea as to how I use it. Now, if you've never used it, if you used a spreadsheet before, Google Sheets is a very simplified version, so it's easy. But you first can just obviously give it a heading, and mine's still loading here. And I use spreadsheets in a very simplistic fashion. I don't use anything fancy. There's a lot you can do with them. I don't. I just find it super easy. So I'm going to call it demo, just to do things. So you can just put your column headings in here. So here I could put date. I could put, I also use this for my co-op, by the way. I have to keep track of my materials fees. So again, like the whole budgeting thing is just fantastic. I'll put store, the actual item description of what I bought, and then the amount. Okay, so this is literally what I will have to turn into them with my receipts. I can make it bold. You can then also come and put your lines around it, however you want to do it. The borders, so here I might want to put all of that at the moment just in the headings. To make it bigger, you just drag it. You just literally kind of click on and just pull it each way. And obviously here you'd put the date. So let's say I'd been earlier this month, and I'd been to Target. Whoops. And I bought some prizes, bought some candy and things for them, and together it amounted to $12.04. So there I would put it. And obviously, if you're recording hours for your students, your children, for their community service, you just put hours in here, whatever you want. And so then I would put 11:05, and maybe, okay, I should put, okay, yep, I want that. By the way, you can, I right click if you're on a Windows computer, double click if you're on a Mac, and we should be able to format this somehow. Actually, it's only letting me paste here. Insert row, delete cells. Okay, that gave me that. That's not what I'm wanting. But here, if we go to, let's go to format. Here we go. Format is, we want to say it's date. So we tell it wants to be that date. Now I want every one of them. Now you don't want to have to literally go through and go format each one. So what you do is you just like highlight. And you just drag this down the whole way. Now it's copied them all. Let's put them, you can see it's not quite what I wanted it to do. I told you my knowledge of this stuff is kind of basic. Let's get rid of it. But what you can do is you can just highlight like that. Let's try again, format, and then you go number, and I want dates. Now obviously when you want in currency, you can choose the format you want and it'll automatically format it. So now let's try again. 11/8/20. And now it's automatically putting it in the same format with 2020. And if I go here 11/15, it's immediately putting the 2020 on for me. You can see. And here I can have Amazon, and maybe I bought some paper for $32. Then let's go Office Depot for photocopies. And finally, we're going to go back to Target, and we're going to get ribbon to do something. I don't know what we're doing in class with ribbon, but There you have it. Now we've got the whole lot. Easy to actually get the total. You just color them in like that. And then you come across here to, where's my other? Somewhere here is the actual totals. And I'm now not, there we go, more. Click on more. The Greek symbol here for sum. Click on that. And you can see it's telling you to sum from D2 to D5. It's like playing battleships, D2, D5. If you want to change it, you can change it. If you're fine with it, you just hit enter and there you have it. And this is where you can go again and you can underline it if you want it. And now you can see it's underlined. Okay, underline, right? And you could have an underline over there too if you wanted it. Or you could have this be underlined top and bottom. There's our formatting here again. We could do that. Now we move away, you see it's underlining and top and bottom, and you can see your total. And this is where we could put the description here as being total, and you'd know how much you'd spent so far. Now the neat thing is you can easily add more lines to it. So you could insert one above. I double clicked to be right click otherwise, and here you'd go 1120. And we're going to go Amazon again, and we're going to get some staples for something or other. Now watch. See how automatically it just updated it. And that's what's so cool. You can put your formulas in. Now I just used automatic formula for some on the functions there. You can see there's lots of other options that you can have. But you can also put your own formula in. And as you actually learn to play around with it, you just put an equal sign first, and then you put the actual the field that you want. So you'd put there, you're wanting to add D2, and you can highlight it instead. Okay, what do you want? D2, and you can say minus D3. Okay, so I literally took D2 and I subtracted that one, and you can see what the answer was. Now that doesn't make any sense, but I just wanted to show you that you can put your own formulas in. You can divide, the divide sign is that one. You can also multiply, which is a little star. But once you put a formula in, it automatically just does it for you. And then you don't have to keep on making changes, but you just add it in. I hope this can at least will just get you started. As I said, you don't even have to use it for amounts. Anything that you want to keep things in different columns. At Christmas time, I normally have each of my kids' names in a column, and I just put under it what I bought for them. And then I often like to put a column with their name, and then next to it the amount. So it will be card game, $12. Whatever, and that way I can quickly sum up each column and make sure that I've spent about the same amount on each child. So that's just a quick way to show you how to get started with Google Sheets. Obviously, if you wanted to learn more, you just use the help. You can find videos on YouTube, but I wanted to show you how easy it is just to do it in a simple fashion. Okay, here's Evernote. Now I'm already logged in. You'd have to create an account when you get into it. But once you get into it, this is more or less what it's going to look like. Now I told you that what this is a big filing system, and obviously you're going to need notebooks, which is equivalent to sort of folders. If you were having one of those hanging files, these would be your folders. And you can see here, I've got lots of different folders. I was planning on teaching a class in Cold War. I still haven't taught it, but I have a Cold War folder. I have free photo sources folder. I have government. I teach an online class in government. I have marketing tools. You can see literally I've got all kinds of things. Ideas for my podcast. Shows to watch. So it's not all just homeschooling. I have a mixture of things, US history, high school, unit studies, etc., etc. In fact, let me just show you what I should be able to do. Unit studies, we have a lot of unit studies that I sell. And what you can do is you can actually stack them together. So let me see if I can get this working. Okay, I haven't done this for a while. And of course they do, whoops, not worldview, honest. Oh, maybe I did I get it there? I know that you can stack them together. And so you can put more unit studies together, and I'm just beyond what I want to show you today, but I promise you it works, because I can show you here is where it does. At the top here I have my stacked one. So basically you can put a whole lot together. So I can have my different unit studies as different folders I'll just have to Google how to do it again. And here you can see these are all stacked. You can see it's like they look like a whole stack, just the top three. We built a Sprinter van over the summer. Oops, I don't want it to go in here yet. There we go. If you click on that one, it now separates it into, I have two folders. Under Sprinter van, I have a van build folder and I have a van life travels folder. So that was when as we've been building, when we've seen products we thought we want to use or good videos, save them there. And then here is things about where we want to travel to. So you can have as many as you need, and all you do is under the notebooks, click on notebooks, is you do click new notebook and you give it a name. Simple as that. Then you can either go into the actual item. So like if I can go into Cold War here, you can see I have already saved this. I found a simulation, and I just reminded myself that in my US history class I covered the Cold War, and if I teach that to my middle schoolers, which is what I had been planning to do at co-op, and I will possibly at some point do a unit study on it, that I could probably use some of the same activities. And then there's a breakout, a digital breakout that I saved that as well, so that I could use that if I need it. Now, if I'm wanting to, if I suddenly think about something else I want to do, I can click on New Note, and here I'm already in the Cold War one. It will then let me write in a title, start writing whatever else, and I can add anything I want here. On the other side, if I'm not actually already in one, I want to just kind of get out of this. Let me just get out. If I'm not in a specific one, and let me just kind of get out of my notebooks. Okay, that was in all my notebooks. But here's my whole notebook list, but if I haven't done anything, I can go New Note, and I can just start to type one, and it won't put it in anywhere until I choose where to put it. Obviously, it's easier when I'm actually planning things to put in the notebooks, but I'm going to show you how you can actually find things as you go as well. So that's the pretty much how you do it. And by the way, you can actually share your notebooks. So if you and your friend are together working on something for your kids or whatever, you can do that. Or if your kids want to use it for something and share with you, they can do it too. This is good. This is something really good for your kids to use if they're busy doing research and they know they're going to be doing a big project later down the line. It's just a way that if by chance they come across things, they can start to save as they go. Now, it's really easy to also just search. You can see here, you can search on something. So if I'm wondering, do I have anything on, let's see, Civil War, I can put that in. And here we go. Now it finds me in my notes no matter which particular notebook they're in. It just actually finds them for me. So obviously some of them aren't relevant because this is about Poland. So it's definitely not what I'm looking for. But here's one on the Battle of Gettysburg that I saved at some point. And it doesn't matter which folder they're in, it will just pull them all up. Okay, some of these, I don't know how they have anything to do with Civil War. But here's primary sources for Civil War, etc. So when I find things, sometimes I find something and I'm like, this is amazing, and I have no idea what to do with it. I will find a notebook to put it into. So which is what I want to tell you now about. You'll see here, I have that little elephant there. You just have to go and install that. It's the little clipper feature. That's a Chrome extension. It's pretty easy. Evernote shows you how to do it. You can just Google if you can't find it, or you can go onto Chrome extensions and find it in there. But let's say that I'm busy searching for some movies about Hitler. Because maybe you want to sit and see what you can watch with your kids or whatever else, and you find this documentary. Because everything's taking a while. So you find this documentary and you think, oh, I want to save him somewhere. What you do is you go to that clipper. Of course, because I would manage to pick the blocking software now thing messes everything up. So let's just try and find something. It's not a YouTube video, so that I can actually show this to you. I'm just going to go to the Wikipedia article just because it will show you. Now you could use it on anything. It does work on YouTube as long as you can actually access it. You just simply click on the little elephant, which is coming up now at some point. Anytime now it will actually come up once it's all loaded. Okay, loading the web clipper. And what it does is it takes what you have found, and it asks you where you want to store it. Come on. So, it's of course just being slow here. Okay, loading. It keeps telling me. There we go. Okay. So here it says save the clip. Ask me to bookmark it. Do you want the full page, the article, screenshot? If you just want a screenshot of something, you can go do that. Normally I'm wanting to bookmark it so I can find the actual page again. And here now it's telling me that it thinks that the most likely place is my folder called Spies. You can add tags here. I don't really use tags. There's a lot more you can do with it, but I don't. But if you don't want the Spies, you could come in here and I could say, no, it's not actually Spies, it's US history that I want to put it into. And at this point, I don't want to do it right now, but I would click it on that, and you click on Save Clip, and it automatically will put it for you into US history, which is really, really useful. Now, my oldest daughter uses Evernote far more than I do, and I actually do have a podcast episode which I will put in the handout that will go along with this, where she talks about in detail how she uses Evernote. So if you like this and you really want to get into it, you can do a lot more than I'm doing with it. But to me, it's just amazing how easily I can save things and just file them away so I know where to find them. I'm just thinking about, oh, I remember I saw this. I can just easily go and look. And because it's so easy to clip it, I do use Chrome OS, and this clipper is just so nice. I can just put it wherever I need it. So the final resource that I use that is free is Trello. And the easiest way is to show you somewhat of how I use it. And our Science Olympiad board, you can see you have different boards, and each of those is a complete own thing. So Science Olympiad board, all our Science Olympiad students are invited to it, and those are all the people up there. So you could invite all your children to it. They will all have their own accounts, or you could just, if they're little, you could just have one account and they just get to see it's, you just have a computer where they can access it, so they wouldn't have separate ones. But what we do, let me find one of my boards. Okay, so Circuit Lab is one that I coach. So you can see here these are your different lists, and under each list, and so here you could have either your lists here could be each of your different children, or you could have English, chores, history, whatever you wanted, and you could have each of these separate ones. Under it are your different cards, so you could see how you'd want to set it up for your kids, but basically they should be able to know exactly where to go to see what they need to do. So here is just literally, and here you could add the members to it. Again, if you're just doing one account and all your kids are going to look at yours, that's fine. The cool thing here is you can have these check boxes, so you describe whatever they need to do. You can add attachments, you can add and under the chat attachments, you can add links there as well. But then what we've done here is we actually put the names of the students, and they have to check them off as they've done it. So here I can see only one of them has actually even read the rules. So we have a ways to go here. I can hide completed items if I want. I can label it, so you can color code it. And so we often do that. We don't really have a start here color, but you can choose your different labels, so that your kids can easily see whatever it is you want them to do. To create the checklist, you literally just put checklist. You can have due dates too, which sometimes we need to do to get the kids to actually focus on what they're doing. And then the description, you can just literally tell them whatever you need them to do. And you can see that, you can see here, like on the chemistry lab, you actually added a whole picture. Here again, you can see under Crime Busters, there's pictures. I tend to just link to videos and games. I told them watch please. I've added a link, which is here, and then again I've asked them to tell me when they've watched it, and they just have to make a check mark when they have actually watched it. Instead of having the people's names, you could otherwise have, if this was for your child, you could have all the things for the day. So you could have a different card for each day. So Monday, and under Monday you would have, instead of where I have Chance and Nathan, you could have here math, and you could have, say in the description, explain what you wanted them to do, and you could save it. And then you could come here and you could have English, And again, the description could have told them what to do further up so that they actually know what it is, or maybe they know what it is anyway. Or you could even put it here, and you could have Spanish if they had to do this. And then, otherwise you could even put it here, and you can say lists 3 and 4 if they know what lists 3 and 4 is, or whatever it is meant to do, or the co-op homework. And you simply do it like that. And we want to get rid of it, which I obviously need to do right now. Okay, let's go back and go Chance and Nathan. Oops. You see, it's really simple to actually do. And in this here, I want to delete it. Okay, I'm showing it to you just in a very simple fashion. Here you can see my label. I went here, so members is where you add whoever you want. See, we have lots of kids on our team. You could just have your kids there, maybe your husband if you want to assign him work too. See, but then you can see under the labels here, I chose videos because it's going to be a video, and you can have a lot more colors. For some reason, we ended up with only 3 at this point this year. But literally, each of these is a different list. And it's super easy to do because if you get to the end of this, you'll see there's a place, add another list. You just click on that and it starts the next list. Underneath it are the cards. Now I just want to go back to my boards. And you can share different boards with different people. So my stuff is my own to-do list to keep my stuff organized. So that's the way we keep our kids organized. Here I have a list for this quarter, for this month. Okay, I haven't updated this for a while. This week, and you can have recurring things. So that's what I've done there. I've got a few power-ups, so there's 3. I've got today, doing, done. Now what I normally do is I would pull it as soon as I've finished something from today, I pull it across. This is just how I use it here. I pull this across. If I actually did it. If it's something that I'm midway through, I've done some of it, but I haven't finished, I can put it under doing. And when I'm finished completely, I move it across. Future commitments is putting things here that I know I need to do, but I don't really want to put it yet. I don't know if I want to do it this week or next week. Okay, I haven't used this for a while. This was a recurring one, but you could see here's the different things that I'm needing to do. And I can put links, etc., so I can easily find what I want. I just want to show you one more board. And come on, board. Not sure what's not coming back to my boards here. Oh, because I'm clicking on the wrong thing. Okay, so on the boards, I'm not sure how many boards you can have free. I haven't created any new boards recently. Okay, it's still on one to go. Here we go, here's my boards. But the other board that I use is my meal planner. I mean, you could use this for your kids to post wish lists for Christmas and everything else. But here's where we tend to have our own list where we say what we're going to do for supper, and then we just literally drag things across, and then afterwards we drag them all back again. So that's for my husband and myself. And so I just put here, normally I'll pull across all the items I think I'm going to use this week, and then I'm finished, I'll take it. So this is a chicken one, so I just drop it back there, and you can see how easy it is to move it across. If I've decided I'm going to cook that recipe this time around, and I'm going to also cook this one, and on them I have links to the recipes because my recipes are mainly online. But if there were ones that I had actually handwritten, I might take a picture of it and put it on. And here's ones where we've used some of the box meals and we've just taken a picture afterwards, put on. You can just see there again how you can, and if I go into it, then it has a link and maybe any extra info that I need, and we share this board. Now obviously we don't assign anything to anybody, but we just share it. So as we find a good recipe, we put it on here and we can see each other's. So there's just a few more things. And again, on the podcast there's at least one episode that talks about ways to use it. So if you're wanting more ideas and you think this looks wonderful, do it. But it's really easy to try, and you should just hit on your board, and there's really nothing much you can do wrong. Well, I hope that these 4 apps have been helpful to you and that you've enjoyed this session. And I hope to meet you somewhere at some time, either if your children take one of my classes or web-based unit studies, or if you come and listen to the podcast. I do have Facebook groups for the podcast, and I have one for high school parents as well. And those will all be in the notes.